Welcome to Fantastic Vision. Please subscribe us before you watch today's video. Recently, the United States has continuously strengthened export controls on China, trying to build a technological barrier to curb the development of China's cutting-edge enterprises. However, this series of measures has not stopped the pace of Chinese companies' progress, and Huawei is a typical representative. According to Reuters, data from relevant research institutions show that Vivo, Apple and Huawei currently occupy the top 3 positions in the Chinese mobile phone market. In the third quarter, Apple's mobile phone sales fell by 0.3%, while Huawei's mobile phone sales increased by 42%. It is worth mentioning that on October 22, Huawei released its self-developed Hongmeng mobile operating system, which once again became the focus of public opinion. As the world's third-largest mobile operating system, after Apple iOS and Google Android, Hongmeng system marks the breaking of the monopoly of American companies in the field of mobile operating systems. This is of milestone significance for the improvement of China's mobile phone ecosystem. At present, the number of developers of Hongmeng system has exceeded 6.75 million, and more than 300 universities have established cooperative relations with Huawei. With Huawei's breakthrough in the field of mobile operating systems, the United States is also looking for new means to restrict Huawei's technological development. It is reported that a semiconductor research institute headquartered in Canada found that chips produced by TSMC were used in the multi-chip system when disassembling Huawei's Ascend 910B chip. This series of events shows that despite the United States' continuous strengthening of export controls, Chinese companies' efforts in scientific and technological innovation have made significant progress. Huawei has not only achieved success in the global market through its self-developed operating system and advanced chip technology, but also set an example for other Chinese companies. In the future, as Chinese companies continue to make breakthroughs in key technologies, the US restrictions may face greater challenges. This discovery has attracted the attention of the chairman of the US House of Representatives China Committee, who believes that this marks the failure of the US export control policy. To this end, he wrote to the US Department of Commerce and TSMC on October 23, asking them to provide detailed information on how Huawei applies and expands its chip business. This incident occurred on October 22, the day after Huawei's Hongmeng operating system was released. Faced with this situation, TSMC took quick action. They confirmed that Suanneng, a chip design company in mainland China, was one of the customers involved in the incident and decided to suspend supply to it. TSMC's move shows that it is actively responding to the US government's sanctions requirements to ensure that its business complies with relevant regulations. In response, Suanneng said that they have not established any form of cooperation with Huawei and have provided TSMC with detailed reports to prove that their chip use is in full compliance with regulations and has nothing to do with the current incident. At the same time, there is no clear evidence that Huawei has obtained relevant chips from TSMC before being sanctioned by the United States. It is worth noting that the United States has long used national security as an excuse to justify its actions to suppress Chinese companies. The US Department of Commerce has repeatedly introduced restrictions to try to prevent Huawei from using equipment and products related to its technology. However, Huawei's new system release and new mobile phone launch have shown that the US restrictions have not effectively hindered the progress of Chinese companies in technological innovation. As the world's leading semiconductor manufacturer, TSMC's active response to the US sanctions policy also reflects its important position in the global supply chain and its sensitivity to the international political situation. This incident not only reveals the competitive situation between China and the United States in the high-tech field, but also reflects the complex challenges faced by companies in the context of globalization. As a technology blogger, I think TSMC's credibility in industrial chain security is questionable. It is currently cooperating with the US government's actions against Huawei, and may also cooperate with the US government to put pressure on other mainland Chinese companies in the future. Therefore, it is particularly important to accelerate the construction of independent chip design and production capabilities in mainland China. TSMC is not only affected by the United States in terms of equity structure, but also has the problem of relying on the United States in key technologies and major customers. Although TSMC's main manufacturing base is located in Taiwan, China, from the perspective of equity distribution, more shares belong to American and European companies. As the leader of the semiconductor industry, the United States is gradually transferring TSMC's production capacity to the United States. TSMC recently announced that it plans to invest more than $65 billion in Arizona, USA, to build 3 chip factories. This is not only one of the largest foreign greenfield investment projects in the history of the United States, but will also further enhance the competitiveness of the United States in the semiconductor field. According to TSMC, its first factory in the United States began producing 4-nanometer process chips in April this year. This series of actions not only shows the determination of the US government to promote the return of the semiconductor industry, but also reminds China that it must strengthen its own R&D and production capabilities to ensure the security and stability of the supply chain. On October 23, at a webinar, Cassidy, president of TSMC's US division, announced that the new plant in Arizona has surpassed similar plants in Taiwan in terms of yield rate by 4 percentage points. Although the authenticity of this data has not been independently verified, the significance behind it is self-evident. It is undoubtedly sending a signal to the world. TSMC is actively responding to the US call for investment. Although TSMC's move may not completely stop the continued technological progress of mainland Chinese companies, it does indicate that TSMC is gradually transforming into a more Americanized company. In other words, TSMC is gradually deepening its integration with the US market, which is not only reflected in the expansion of its geographical location, but also in the adjustment of its business focus and strategic direction. Faced with an increasingly fierce international competitive environment, TSMC's strategic choice will undoubtedly have a profound impact on the global semiconductor industry landscape.